Recorded live from the Washington, D.C. metro area. You're listening to Seasoned for Success, hosted by Rob Ross.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Learn from a melting pot of industry leaders and find the right ingredients for success.
All right, that's one way to kick us off.
Let's do it.
Got a little Ricky Bobby on there. If you ain't first, you're last. I think that might be. I'm hoping that's Rich Rod's theme.
That's right. It needs to be.
It needs to be. So, well, happy and excited to have new friend Couz Walker on here for Couz's Corner, and excited to to get to know you a little bit better and talk some Mountaineer sports and kind of see where this podcast goes, and we'll take a few twists and turns down some country roads and see where that leads us today. I definitely am sporting my my Morgantown hoodie, and
I love it,
and bringing the blue gold to the show today. And for those that watch my podcast normally, I've always got some Mountaineer stuff in the background and keep it interesting. But no, wanted to have Couz on here, so I'm staring at my screen sometimes as I look over here to the right, and I was driving home to come do this podcast with you today from my day job in the mortgage industry. And my YouTube notification pops up that you had a show just 3 hours ago now, right? Yeah. Already 2,000 views.
Lunchtime live stream. Yeah.
Yeah. Lunchtime live stream for your YouTube channel, Couz's Corner. All things Mountaineer sports, Big 12, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lots of stuff.
Conference realignment. Yeah.
Yep. So loving that. I got through about 15 minutes of it, and the phone rang, and then I popped in the house here. So I didn't even get through the full thing yet. So I got some new stuff coming out there. But wanted to bring you on here. Seasoned for Success is a podcast, all people, all walks of life, different industries. My primary industry is real estate, but I'm an avid sports fan, avid Mountaineer fan. Bleed blue and gold, have my whole life, and want to get on here and talk about it. So welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me on, Rob. It's an honor, man, to be here.
Yeah.
I guess it's an honor to be considered a success, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, you're I know I'm gonna try to help, and I'm gonna share this with a bunch of people on my social media outlets too, to help you get to that 10,000 subscriber mark.
Absolutely. Let's do it, man. I love it. I appreciate it.
It's impressive, and I want to continue to help you grow as well. So I appreciate what you do. You take time out of the day, you keep it interesting. And with that being said, let's kick off a few things here to talk about. Mm-hmm. Do you live in West Virginia? Where are you from?
I actually do. I live in the southern part of the state, Mercer County, southern tip. Yep.
I thought so, because I've heard you say a few times, like driving to the game takes a little bit. So
yeah, well, and if you can't tell, I've got the thick southern. The accents in southern West Virginia compared to the accents in northern West Virginia are not the same, but I promise it's the same state. But no, I live in the southern part of the state, right across the Virginia border here, and I've lived in this area my whole life, man. So it's born and raised, and
yeah, you're right on the accent part. So I'm northern, right? And now I've been in Virginia 24 years, so I don't know what that accent is. But when I get around all my boys from Pittsburgh, I start, a lot of my good friends are from P County, Preston County, West Virginia.
Right.
So they got a little accent too, but we start talking, and we start getting together and throwing a few beers back. It switches to a Pittsburgh accent to us.
Oh, the Yinzer comes out in you, huh?
The Yinzer comes out. We start, hey, I'll meet you up there. I'll see you down there later. How yins doing? Like that. that comes out real quick. It takes about 2 Coors Lights, and then we're into that. So that's pretty funny. And so Couz's Corner. So tell me, you have the YouTube channel. I know you mentioned X as well. Mm-hmm. So where can if someone wants to go watch Couz's Corner, Mountaineer fans, what's the best way to tap in, subscribe? Let's kick it off with that. Mm-hmm. What's the best way to get started?
Yeah, YouTube, obviously, Couz's Corner on YouTube. I do have a side channel called Hoops from the Hills, where I cover Mountaineer basketball as well.
Yeah.
I'll probably dig more into that as basketball season goes. As they get into Big 12 play, I'm going to try to get more content up over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Couz's Corner is the main channel, and you can find me on X at Couz206. I am on audio only platforms as well, but I don't put every show up there.
Yep.
Only select shows. So you can find me on Spotify, Apple, all those as well.
Yep.
Pretty much anywhere on social media. You can look up Couz's Corner and you'll find me.
Perfect. And we'll I'll drop those notes in here as I launch this out too. So we'll tag you and get you some followers, man.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. So southern part of Virginia, always a Mountaineer fan, ever a Marshall fan?
Yeah. I like Marshall, but they're not my favorite team. They're second behind West Virginia is always going to be my passion, true passion. But I do Marshall when they're not playing West Virginia, and I actually have a daughter attending Marshall.
There you go.
I now have an even bigger place in my heart for the Thundering Herd. Now I'm trying to follow them a little more closely than I used to, trying to keep up. But yeah, so I don't have any ill will towards the Herd. I know most Herd fans don't feel the same, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but so it makes it tough sometimes.
It's my high school was a split. We had half of us going to Morgantown and half of us going to Marshall when I grew up.
Yeah.
So
yeah, my daughter loves it there, man. So she's happy, I'm happy, right? So
yeah, we have my mom's side. We have some family that went down there as well. So it's hey, I cheer for him too. I have been known to call him the little stepchild sometimes. It's a little brother, whatever you want to call it. So
yeah, I've done that a few times too. I'm trying to stop doing that now out of respect for my daughter. And
I get it. Hey, it's a great school, great university, but West Virginia blue and gold, the flying WV is the hard logo to go. But Marshall had a great season, and happy that Gibby's there. So
me too. I'm cheering even harder for them now that he's there.
I am too. It's a really good thing. The bowl stuff, they got it. I mean, to get into a bowl game and have 25, and then I heard 30, something like that, players transfer
somewhere in there.
And not be able to play your bowl game, it's got to stop. Like it's got to.
Yeah, it's nuts, man.
I know it's heading that way, and there's, as I say, my industry, there's reform. there's got to be some more reform every day moving forward, because it's out of control, is what it is, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of feel bad for some of these kids, because they are kids. Like, we forget that. We see some of these kids that are grown men, right? They're 300-pound linebackers that are just, and they're, you think that they're 30 years old. They're 18-year-old kids that are just, they don't know what to do. Sometimes they have the wrong people in their ear. They're transferring. They're not, it's the ability for these coaches to develop. It's why you have the Nick Sabans of the world, all these guys, he probably would have coached 5 more years if it wasn't like it was, right? So
absolutely.
But you're either, like we said at the beginning, you're either first or last. So you're either on board or you're not, because it's the train's leaving the station without you. So it's but I liked what Rich Rod said. Is, we'll talk about him a little bit later, but I like what he said at his press conference. He's if he's not better, he's better this week than he was last week. He was better he's
absolutely
better coach now than he was 17 years ago when I walked out of that Mountaineer Stadium, Mountaineer Field, and the 13-9 that'll haunt me forever. Walking out of there was like a funeral, right? And he's a better coach now than he was then. You got to keep improving. So I like everything he's saying. But so if we're looking through here, so hoops in the hills or from the hills?
From the hills.
Hoops from the hills, and I've watched a few of those, but it's been a hot minute. What's your if you can only cover one the rest of your life, and I know you can cover both, so you're not going to be faced with that. What is it? Football or basketball?
It'd be football.
Yeah. It's football for me too. Basketball really made a push. I'm not going to say to take over football, but a lot of those Final Four teams and Beeline into Huggy, and a lot of those teams just Sweet 16s, and it was nice when they were cooking. It was nice. It was nice, cooking, And I was bummed when we didn't bring Huggy Bear back. There's people on both sides of the fence. I get it. Hey, to each their own. I like the guy they hired.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was a great hire. Yeah,
he kind of has he has that edge that Huggy has. Like, I feel he's tough. Like he might want to put a treadmill on the sideline. Like that Javon Carter treadmill mentality, right? It's going to be interesting to see, but I don't know if we're going to get Tucker back. This has been cryptic, so I don't know if
I'm not feeling good about it. Based on some of the answers or non-answers, but I mean, I was torn on the Huggins thing because I loved Huggins. I really did.
Same.
And he'll always be a legend to me, regardless of his mistakes. And we all make mistakes, but you're a professional, and my day job, I'm a professional.
Yeah.
And if I'd done what he did, I'd get fired too. You know what I mean?
Oh.
You can't have a DUI in a company vehicle. Which is basically what he was doing.
Yeah.
And especially when you were already kind of sort of on probation, so to speak, anyway, from the slur he did 6 weeks earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who would not have gotten in trouble in that situation. Whether you're a legend or not, there are certain things certain rules you have to abide by. And in the professional world, especially when you're the CEO of a multi-million-dollar entity like a P4 college basketball program, I don't think the university had much of a choice, to be honest with you.
They didn't. They were between a rock and a hard place, and they, I think in Ren we trust. Is that what it is right now? He's impressive, and I think he's impressive. He's doing, he's making a lot of people feel like he's pressured into this last one. I don't necessarily. I mean, there might be a little pressure, but I don't think hiring Rich Rod was full pressure. But yeah, it was interesting with Huggy. But we're moving on basketball with DeFreeze. It's he's got bringing his son in was a big plus, but it's hey, we're 9-2 coming, right? We were barely 500 last year.
I didn't see it coming. 12. I really didn't. I figured we'd be 6-4, 7-3, somewhere in there. I mean, 8-3, whatever. Yeah, somewhere in there. We're probably 1 or 2 games ahead of where I thought we'd be. I didn't see us beating Gonzaga for sure.
Didn't see us beating Gonzaga, and honestly, didn't see us beating Arizona either. Mm-hmm. So, and Arizona's a better. I think we caught Zona at the right time. I think they're a little better than they played that night too. Yep. So,
and I'll tell you what, that Georgetown win's looking better now. I don't think they've lost a game since they played West Virginia.
And they were 7-1 coming into it. I think something like that. Yeah. They were. So
that's going to be. And so far, that looks like a quality win.
That's going to help that. It's going to help that RPI ranking at the end there. Quality win. Yep. We need it. So it's. But hey, nothing like starting Big 12 with Kansas.
Oh gosh.
Hey, Darian DeFreeze, welcome to the Big 12.
Big 12
Allen Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
What a way to kick. What a way to kick it off.
Fortunately for him, his buddy McDermott has already played Kansas this year.
Oh,
I think so.
From Creighton,
I'm not mistaken. Right? Yep. Yeah, I think they played them, didn't they?
But they might have. They beat them.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So
yeah. They beat.
Hopefully, he can get a few tips from him.
He'll get a lot of tips. I think the tip's going to say fix Tucker's whatever.
Yeah, that's
God. Those threes he was launched. I mean, he had that last game was 28 points. It was one of his last games. Was it the last game before he was out? But he was just. I mean, he was. Oh, yeah. I showed my son. I mean, Robbie's Steph Curry range. He's stepping over mid court, pulling up jumpers, and just God, it's pretty. I mean, we'll have him next year if he doesn't come back this year, and
hopefully, if he gets out, they did say that it was still on the table.
Okay,
to apply for a medical redshirt. So
yeah,
they didn't go as far as to say they were going to do that or not, but
they're lenient. They're lenient on this stuff. It seems like these days, you get some of these, some of these football players in their 7th, 8th seasons, and now the JUCO stuff not counting.
Yeah, yep.
It's every day something new.
From it is, for sure.
From Raekwon Battle and the KC one, and next thing you know, it's just transfer anytime. It's it's interesting. Well, let's talk a little bit about Coach Rodriguez. Mm-hmm. So he comes back. We get the last 48. I thought the last week's been crazy. The last 48 hours is getting real crazy, and then people are getting antsy because they're saying, things I'm reading are, well, we're not getting where's all this money going to, right? Why aren't we buying superstar players yet? Where's the quality of players? Where's, are we happy with some of the people coming in? And we do have a spring portal. and there's going to be people entering then, right? We
Right.
kept a recruiting class together. I don't know how they kept the 22 of those folks together, 21, 22, whatever that was. I don't know how they kept that together. That's going to give Coach Rod and his team, his staff, which is coming together slowly, but it's going to give his staff a chance to hopefully develop some players.
Hopefully, if they're able to keep them in the fold,
if they're able to keep them in the fold. But he's got an offensive line to replace. He's got, you get Hudson's out, right?
CJ's out.
You're getting Traylon
Ray's out,
right? So we're getting
Josiah
all these,
Trotter. Both starting linebackers are out.
Both starting linebackers are out,
and then you lost all three. You lost all three of your starting D linemen to graduation. So
and Trotter ended up at Missouri.
Correct.
You got CJ at the Ohio State, which is just, that's going to be all over the message boards for the next couple hours. He got paid, but part of that's too. It's like, man, could he have flourished under Rodriguez? But if Jaheim goes, I might start to get worried, but I don't. Hopefully he's watched footage of Noel Devine, Steve Slayton. Hopefully he's watched some of and many running backs since then.
Avon Coburn.
Yeah. Hopefully he's watched some of this footage and said, all right, I can be a superstar. Mentioning Steve Slayton and Devine, I had this is setting up there, and I got it out recently when Rich Rod came out. So it's my Nokia Sugar Bowl ticket.
Awesome.
When we beat Georgia, I was
there in person.
I was there in person. It was the only Sugar Bowl not in New Orleans because of Hurricane Katrina.
Yep, they beat Georgia in their backyard. That's what made it even more special.
Beat Georgia in their backyard. The quarterback Jeremy Shockey for Georgia. But I remember just going up 21 zip quick, and it was like, phew, I'm gonna hold this ticket this year. And,
I would for sure,
and hope to bring back some of that magic.
I wasn't there in person, but I'll never forget it, man. So it was a special night for sure.
It was a special run after that too. I am happy he closed. Thinking back to the run after that, even with Bill Stewart coming in after, I'm happy he's he's going to try to retain Bill's son.
Blaine.
Yep. And but the news I saw today too is Rick Trickett's staying.
Jacksonville State, yeah.
He's staying. Now he's 76. Not that that's old, but he's not a spring chicken.
Right.
And he's staying because Clint just accepted the offensive coordinator position there. So it's
correct.
I don't blame him.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I mean,
wants to
as
stay
a dad,
with his son.
as a dad, I could get, I totally get it.
Yeah. I mean, and what at this point, like I said, he's 76. What's Coach Rod going to pay him? $200,000 more per year to come up here. And then he's got the pressure. He's going to have way less pressure in Jacksonville State, right?
Yep.
I would think so. Then you're going to have in Morgantown. All the pressure. I don't think they give Coach Rod. I don't think you have 3 years to win now. I think you have 2. I mean, they're not going to get rid of him on 3. They kept Neil Brown 6.
Yeah, I think it depends on, if you're winning 3-4 games a year, versus winning 6 to 7. I think it'll be different. But I think a lot of it's going to determine on the progression of the program. Is the program getting better, or is it going backwards, or staying stagnant like we are now? That's and if he has all the support he's supposed to be getting financially, then, there's no reason it shouldn't move forward. Which I'm starting to question that now too, to be honest. But
I know. Well, when you've got
hard not to.
You had, if you saw what Nick Saban said the other day, he expects, which is no pressure, Rich, but you got Saban out there saying during that Indiana Notre Dame game, he's saying on national TV, hey, this Rich Rodriguez is now in Morgantown, and I think Rich can do something similar.
Right.
That happened at Indiana. That happened, and it's like,
very exciting.
If our fans start having expectations of year one going 11-1, let's try to get into a bowl game first year. Let's try to get back.
That's exactly my expectations. I think
we need to get back to a bowl.
Yep. I think we need to be realistic.
Yeah. His first year in Morgantown when Nealon retired was, he was 3-8, and we had Grace. We're going to give him time to get his team together and get his folks in there. He had Brad Lewis back then, right? Rashid couldn't play back then until you got him in afterwards. But you got to give him time. But the clock is a lot faster today. He's not you can buy a team today, right?
Yeah.
There's people out there in the portal. It's just a matter of who you're going to get when developing the players, but getting that coaching staff together. I don't know if I'm a little mixed knowing Trickett's not coming and more is gone, offensive line coach, but
he's at Virginia Tech now, by the way.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Same position?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Just came across my social media feed like 10 minutes before I got on here.
Wow. Okay.
So that and the CJ Donaldson news came out about the same time.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's
maybe he can get Garen Justice maybe from SMU.
Yeah, I was reading that.
Maybe Ryan Stanchek, who played for him, he's moving up the ladder.
Stanchek would be a good call, and Stanchek's got, Stanchek gets in, you're going to get a little more of that Pat McAfee publicity from that too. I mean, Patty Mac's going to help regardless, just because
right
he's on board. He's a rich guy. I think I keep hearing Pat White's name as quarterback's coach, but I hear about 3 other people's names ahead of his. So
same, including his son Rhett.
Yeah, exactly. So the expectations are there. So it's going to be. Where do you think we're going to end up in the Big 12 next year? Here's the difference too. I think we've got. I feel like when we. I don't remember a lot of games under Rich where we just got curb stomped and blown out. I just don't remember that. I just remember being competitive.
I mean, after his first year, it did, because it was his first year.
Correct.
But after that, no. I mean, even games they lost, I think, were mostly close. Again, my memory's not great there, but
that just competitive, right? And I just feel, and I'm not trying to down the team we just had. I mean, I like Garrett Green's effort. I think he had I think Garrett Green would have done better under Rodriguez. I mean,
agreed. To me, he's tailor-made for his offense, but unfortunately, he's a year too late.
Yeah. So it's just, you look at some of that stuff and you know that, the possibilities were there, and with this team, and I think there might have been an uproar though if we won that bowl game, and then not won the bowl game, but won the last game versus Texas Tech, and then not gotten crushed. They might have kept Neil Brown, but the pressure was on. I mean, the pressure was on. So 6 years too much. So what year did you start your podcast?
I started my podcast in August of 21. Yes, August of 21. So
what made you start it?
I don't know. I joke and say it was a midlife crisis, but
was it a hobby at the beginning, and then?
It started out as a hobby. I'd always wanted to do something like that. I'd always wanted to do. I say always. As a kid, I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. It was one of my dreams.
Love it.
But through life, you change and things go a different direction, and yada yada. Well, fast forward to 2021. I had been thinking about maybe starting a podcast or something for a while. I just didn't really know how to go about doing it. Didn't really, I didn't have any, and I always just thought for a podcast it would be better to have a partner and all that, and so nothing ever panned out there. And I'm flipping through YouTube one day because I was watching you. It was during conference realignment when Texas and Oklahoma had just announced they were going to the SEC. Yep. So I was watching YouTube, and Golden Blue dude pops up. He's a former. Unfortunately, he's passed away now. He's no longer with us, but he was a very fast rising YouTuber that was a huge West Virginia fan.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching it. He was great. He was great.
And I thought, man, he looks like he's having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's something I would like to do. And I just thought more about it and talked to a couple of friends of mine who had done a little bit of podcasting and YouTube stuff, and they encouraged me to do it. So I finally one day just said, screw it. And I I pressed record and I did it, and it just took off from there. You know,
the rest is history. Do you know how many shows you've recorded now?
Gosh, I do not know off the top of my head. I don't. I know it's well over 200, but I don't know the exact number.
It's got to be a couple hundred.
Maybe 300 at this point. I don't even know. I do probably about 4 shows a week. So
do you have set shows that you always do and never miss, and then you interject other shows as needed as news comes out, or how do you?
I just do mine. My job is I make my own schedule. So to be honest, I just kind of record when I can, when I have time.
Yeah.
Like today, you know, I was working from home, so I took an hour.
Yeah.
You know, normally I would have been eating lunch, and I did a show.
And you do all your own, right? So Season for Success is also about how to do stuff. So you do all your own editing. You've got the software. You do all that. You don't outsource anything, right? So
I wished I did, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I just, from a financial perspective, I'm not at a point yet where I can. So
yeah. Well, I mean, you do a great job. The quality's great and it looks good. So there's no,
Thank you. It's draining at times. I've been doing a lot more live shows lately because number one, I've gotten to enjoy those more so than I used to, because interacting with the audience is always fun.
I love that.
But two, I don't have to edit those. So it makes life a lot easier for me.
You just go with it. So
editing is probably the most time consuming process of the entire thing. So
yeah, no, for sure. For sure. What do you, on the live shows, they still recycle. So when you record them live, when you have the image, so as I'm sitting here looking at my screen from 3 hours ago, Time to Panic, you got your Rich Rod fist in the air, right? That's your thumbnail, right?
Mm-hmm.
So after you record live, is that when you put the thumbnail up and save it on there, or do you do that before? How's that?
I do it beforehand normally to draw attention. I try to do it beforehand. I mean, sometimes I don't get it done before the show starts, depending on time. But because that's another time consuming piece of it as well as the thumbnail. But I've started to find ways to streamline that a little bit. But back to your question, I try to do it beforehand because it grabs attention easier than just seeing my channel homepage.
What do you have a certain software you use when you do thumbnail?
I use Canva for my thumbnail.
Yep. I've started using that for my thumbnails as well.
And I'll pay for the premium service that gets me a few more, and I can take the background and stuff out and all that. Yeah. More creativity. I do pay a little bit for a few things like StreamYard and Canva and other things. Because it's, you got to spend money to make money.
StreamYard's been good. That's the one I hopped on. And then I use, you ever use Fiverr?
I have not. I've heard about Fiverr, but I have not looked into it.
It's really good. I used Fiverr, Fiverr,
mm-hmm.
I believe FIV
for editing or just for streaming.
Fiverr is for all editing. So you're paying $5 to $50, and you're hiring folks they'll do editing, they'll do create thumbnails. They'll my intro and outro video for Season for Success podcast. They created those.
Okay, I'll look into that then.
They'll do a lot of. In an email I'll share my guy.
I appreciate it. I'll be honest. If I spent more time researching all the different options that were out there, I could probably help myself out and save myself some time and maybe even money. Yeah, but I don't. I want my free time to be spent as free time. Because I don't, because this is not my full-time job. This is it's a side hustle for me. So but it's cool when your side hustle is a passion. Yeah, right? It is. Yeah. And when I first started making money, I said my goal was to turn it into a full-time gig. But the more time goes, number one, I realize how hard that's going to be. Sure. But two, I'm not sure if I want it to be, because I don't know that it would have. I'm afraid I would lose my passion for it and it wouldn't be fun anymore. Yeah. I get it. I mean, honestly, I'm a full-time mortgage banker. I didn't graduate high school wanting to be a mortgage banker. I would have done something in sports, like you said. Like, I love sports. I love interaction. I love talking to people. Mortgages have been great. Helping people get into houses is great. But when I come home, I want my downtime as well. It's all things. I got my Alexa
screaming, hey, 30 minutes until Mountaineer game's on, 30 minutes until football's
That's
on,
cool.
right? My son hears it. It's screaming throughout the house. So it's but it's a passion. It's watching this. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here. I look forward to your podcasts every day, right? Every time they come out with a new one, I've been watching several years, easily, maybe 3 years now. I've been, hitting you up, watching, and just really enjoy. Like, I could tell it's your passion, but it's the time and effort you put into it. It's not being scared to voice your opinion, even though you might have some keyboard warriors out there hitting you back, saying stuff. I think to me, that'd be the fun part. If someone's sitting there hitting you back, kind of pissed off at something you're saying, you're like, hey, this is just an opinion. Everyone's entitled to my opinion's right to me. Your opinion's right to you. Doesn't matter, right? We can have
absolutely. And
that's the whole beauty of it.
That's one of the more challenging things for me. I don't naturally have a thick skin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But so I've had to now I do work in sales, outside sales. So that's helped. But the outside sales I do it's not, commission-based sales. It's so it's different. But when I really had to develop a thicker skin is through this, because like you said, people are not going to agree with you. I've had people, people, when I first got started, people used to make fun of me, the way I talk. And because, I don't get that as much anymore, but because I actually physically worked on improving my dialect and pronunciation. And I'm still a West Virginia hillbilly, but I've tried to improve the way I speak and all that. Yeah. Sound more professional. But yeah, I mean, you get things and it at first, man, there were times I was like, man, why am I putting myself through this? Right. But you eventually get to the point. I'm at the point now where I'm like, okay, I have a big enough audience now to where if I have a few people come after me, I feel like now it's like, okay, I'm getting somewhere. Because if you don't get to a certain level, if you don't have some people that don't like you or say some negative things about you, then you're probably not doing enough. That's kind of how I look at it.
100%. There's naysayers out there. When you get the naysay, and guess what? Those naysayers are they're the ones waiting for your next YouTube notice to pop up. They're jumping on first, right?
Right.
So it's, and some people just like to try to get a rise out of people and make it happen. But hey, that's the fun part about the debate and about going through it.
And in the moment, I can't tell you that in the moment I don't sometimes overreact and get pissed, because I do. I'm human. But at the end of the day, I usually sit back and go, you know what, that guy doesn't, or that person or that individual, whatever. Yeah. They're probably not my audience anyway. So it is what it is.
Absolutely. What where do you see? So this is tough. So we have Power 4 conference now. We'll talk a little bit longer here. So we got Power 4 conference. Where do you, in general, fast forward 5 years from now, do you think the Big 12 looks the same as it does today in 5 years? 5 years.
I do not know.
Do you think there's a Big 12 in 5 years?
Yes, I do think there's a Big 12. But
I do too.
I think it'll look different.
I think it'll look different too. And I'm not sure.
I think there'll be more teams in it.
I think so too.
UConn, probably.
I like what they're doing. Who's I've lost his name. Guy that runs
Brett Yormark.
Yeah. I like what he's doing. I mean,
me too.
But are we going to see the jerseys like the hood of a NASCAR with Accenture and
at some point I think it's coming. I mean, they did get it approved to go on the field. I think the next step of that will be going on jerseys. But I've also heard some people, some ADs and some leaders in college football say, you know what? There are certain lines they may not want to cross. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's one they don't want to cross. I don't know.
Depends on how much that money is.
Yeah. Big 12's dead. Look, Big 12's pretty – I think they'll be here, but I do think they've got to figure out a way to increase revenue. And I think that at some point you're going to see private equity make their way into college sports.
Yeah.
And I think the Big 12 could potentially be the first conference to go down that road.
I do too, because he's forward thinking. Yormark, and he need, and that is the beauty of it. But you've got to have, I mean, the basketball alone should keep the Big 12 relevant because March Madness and so many good teams in basketball. football's got the thoroughbreds. You're not going to catch up to the SEC, to the Big Ten. I mean, the Big Ten's they're just killing it right now, right? It's really the ACC and the Big 12 kind of sitting out there in third or fourth position, flip flop any year, right? And it's, I remember when there was talks of Florida State and Clemson leaving the ACC, and if that happened, we'd be light years ahead of the ACC. But SMU getting stomped. I mean, some of these teams, I don't know. In football, it's just how do you keep up? I like that Rich Rod says, hey, you can, and he said it 3 times. Yep. You can win a national championship at West Virginia. And he says it 2 more times,
Yeah, he did that for him to say it 3 times, he did that on purpose.
He did it. And guess what? People were giving him, why would he say that? You want someone that's going to say that.
Absolutely.
How are you going to I've never had anything successful in my life unless I've manifested it, right? You got to manifest it. You got to put, if you're not going to put it out there in the universe, probably not going to happen. Right.
Yeah.
And if you're
it's
a player,
mindset.
Yeah. And if you're a player, if you're Pat McAfee, all this stuff, again, I'm a little worried as I'm looking at this stuff too, but I think it's a natural reaction. I bet sitting in his office in Morgantown, how worried I think Rich Rod is? 0. I actually don't think that guy's worried at all right now.
I don't either, because I think he's totally confident in what he's doing.
He is.
I think he has a plan.
Yep.
And I think is he going to have to be throwing some curveballs like Rick Trickett maybe staying at Jack State? He probably didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you he has a backup plan.
Yeah.
There's more than one O-line coach out there. That's everybody. Some people are panicking, and I get it. Rick Trickett is arguably the best in the business. But he was 76, or he is 76, 77 years old. So how much longer can he do it? So maybe Rich goes out, gets a younger O-line coach that can be there for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years, whatever.
Yep.
And maybe even be able to recruit a little better because he can relate more to today's talent.
Yep.
And we'll be able to travel more, maybe to recruit,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that, and how do we know that behind the scenes he don't already have a staff in place? We don't know about it yet because he can't make the announcements because of bowl games and contracts and all these other things.
There's more behind the scenes, and even Ren's been, man, that guy, he's tight-lipped. You know what I'm saying? Like I've always died laughing at the some of the message boards, tracking the flight trackers coming in, and from when coaching search, you got the flights landing in Morgantown to see who's coaching and where they're tracking the tail numbers and all this stuff. So all that stuff has always made me laugh. There's some truth to a lot of it, which is even funnier.
There is, yeah.
Which is even funnier. But they, I think they do a good job keeping stuff real close to the vest and not letting it out there. And there's enough money and enough stuff going around that you don't want. There's probably a lot of NDAs being signed too, because you don't want these coaches at other schools, and it's going to mess up their bowl game. And there's a lot of that, but let's remember everyone's reply. My boss taught me this years ago, and my boss at my company is a WVU grad as well. He's 10 years my senior. I'm 46. He's 56, right? He's a little older than I am, but he's a Mountaineer too. And, it's not always the X's and O's, it's the Jimmys and Joes, and that's a lot of it. So it's like, I'm a big believer in good coaching, right? But this isn't a shot at Nick Saban either. I love Nick Saban. He's a homegrown boy, right? But if he coached, West Virginia versus Alabama during the same tenure, would he have 7 national championships? I don't think he would, right?
Probably not.
Wouldn't have had maybe the same resource.
I'd be happy with 1, just for the record.
I think he would have had at least 1. I think he would win 1 in Morgantown. So I think he's the GOAT, right? I think he's the greatest college football, and I'm not going out on some limb saying that. A lot of people think that. He's amazing. I love listening to him talk, his motivation, everything about him. But at some point, it's resources, it's money. Can you buy a team? Not that he bought a team, but he didn't have. You know how many 5-star players were just lined up at Alabama's doorstep?
A lot.
You just turn them away, right? So it's we got to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. I don't know if this name will make you laugh or if you'll remember it, but we don't have Jason Gwaltney coming back right now.
Thank goodness.
The 5-star, coming out of New York. So we don't have him. We don't have
no Noel Devines coming down the pipeline, right?
Yeah.
Well, aren't those the only 2 5-star recruits ever in the school's history?
Yeah.
Football.
Gwaltney, 5-star. Devine was number 1, and YouTube, obviously sensation. Still talking about him. I don't think we're going to get Chris Henry's son.
Yeah, a lot of people were thinking we can. Maybe we can, but
he's a 5-star. He'd be the third.
Here's the thing. He may want to leave. He may want to leave, and I'm totally speculating here. I've never spoken to the kid or anything. Yeah. He may want to leave his own legacy. He may not want to follow in the footsteps of his dad, right?
Yeah.
He also may want to make a bag, and even though West Virginia's resources are likely going to increase, they're still not going to be at the Ohio State level.
Yep.
So he can go to Ohio State and bring, make $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $10 million in NIL money, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's likely going to be more than he can make at West Virginia, even with the backing of the Kendricks and the McAfees and everyone else. So,
and the key there is look at if he looks at his dad's stats, God rest his soul, right? If he looks at Chris Henry's stats when he played for Rich Rod, one of the best receivers in the nation, right? Went on to was doing amazing things at Cincinnati.
Yep.
Was really coming into his own. He was on my fantasy. He was on my fantasy.
He was his career trajectory was like this when he suddenly passed away.
It was launching, right?
Yep.
But in Morgantown, he was a run first, run quarterback, run. He was Darius Raynaud after Darius Raynaud, right? Or before? Wait, before. Sorry, before.
He was. I mean, Rich Rod's going to run the ball 65% of the time.
So it's hard for a receiver to want to come to that, probably.
Correct.
Right. And so I get it. I mean, although if you bring a Chris Henry Jr. in, you might be throwing it a little bit more too.
Maybe.
So
and that's another thing. We have a tendency to put him in a box.
Yeah.
If you look back at Rich Rod's career, he's had passing quarterbacks before. He had in his days at Tulane, he had Sean King. Remember Sean King?
He had Sean King. He had Woody Dantzler, Clemson.
Yeah. Yep. So he can scheme to throw the football.
He can.
It's just not his preference.
Just not his preference.
But if he can do it. I mean, we've seen, Jacksonville State didn't throw it as much, but they can throw it when they needed to throw it. So
Saban gave him a shout out for being the innovator of that the spread.
Yep.
I mean, he's the RPO. I mean, it's I just don't know if it's Nico. I like the kid. I just don't know if it's him.
Yeah, I hope it is. I mean, I love to see him get his, because I think he's earned his shot for staying as long as he has. But
he has.
But I still have a feeling that, I mean, we've lost. Obviously Garrett's graduating, and then we have Ryder Burton who entered the portal. So they're going to have to get another quarterback, at least one, if not two, for depth. So I look for him to go out and find somebody who's a runner, and
he's got to get someone with some wheels. Yeah,
someone that's athletic. I think someone. I was hoping Bo Prabula might be that guy, but he's going to Missouri.
Is that the Ohio State?
No, that's the Penn State backup that had to go.
Oh, yeah, I saw.
Speaking of the portal problems, not to change the subject, but we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah,
I mean, they have created an environment now to where players, the portal window is only open so many days, and it opens right after the season. So now you have a player on a college playoff team who wants to enter the portal. He had to leave his team in order to enter the portal, or he doesn't get in until spring, which means he'd be behind on whatever roster he gets on.
You got to leave it open. You can't close it, or you don't open it until after. What do you think? Do you think you wait till the national champions announced the next morning, 8 a.m. portal opens?
Well, they do have an extended window for players in the playoff.
Oh, okay.
For another 10 days. But the argument for him is, he's a quarterback.
Yeah.
He's got to get in a college and get he needs to be able to get there as early as possible, get there for spring semester enrollment.
Yeah.
Start start studying the playbook, starting, you know what I'm saying? Getting timing with his receivers.
They do have class too. They do have class too.
They have to enroll in classes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not quarterback's a little different, man. You've got to, and he wants a chance to start. So he doesn't want to be fall. And the roster spots get taken up if you don't get in, you know? So it's, some people have thrown shade at that young man for going in when he did, but I kind of feel for him because deep down he didn't want to leave his team during a national championship, potential national championship run.
9 out of 10 of these kids, they don't want to leave their teams. 9 out of 10 of them, right? So even in my industry, you get sales folks that come and go. Some leave the right way, some don't. Right? It happens. Like it's just not every divorce, not every breakup is a good one. Right? Sometimes they're tough, and it's like, I feel like it's been swept under the rug the last couple of days, and I'm okay with it being swept under the rug. It's time to move on, and I don't want to throw stones, but the hard edge comment, more leaving for Virginia Tech or not getting retained, going to Virginia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
They say it's a shot at Rich Rod. Then they say whoever they is, right?
Yeah,
it's a shot at Rich Rod. Well, no, it's just him. It's him just defending his players. Man, the truth might be in the. It was all caps.
I think it was all the above. I think it was a shot. I don't think it was a shot at Rich Rod as much as it was a shot at the fan base.
It was a shot at. I think it was a shot at the fan base. That's what I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the fan base has adopted the hard edge. Like,
but I haven't seen any fans. I don't want to say any. Very, very few fans have criticized the O-line. It's mostly, and even him. It's mostly been Garrett Green or other players, other positions.
Even CJ giving up on
I haven't seen a whole. That's the one position group that most fans. I don't want to say all, but most fans agreed was really good.
Yeah.
So I thought the comment was a little bit misplaced.
I do too. Well, could you imagine? So what was it? If this year's team had our defense from 3 years ago, was it 3 or 4 years ago that we had our defense was
4?
It was 4.
2020, the COVID year.
Yeah.
Top 5 defense in the country.
Yeah. It's like it's just like can't have all the pieces at
the
once.
Offense was horrific that year.
I know. It's it's going to be an interesting ride, but I tell you what, I'm excited. I was a fan of Rich Rod coming back. I know a lot of people in between, some were, some weren't. I think there was a couple polls out there. I was listening to our 3 guys, brethren, and they, I listen to those guys. They know what they're talking about.
I still listen to them too.
Yeah, they
even though I don't always agree with their approach, they're great at what they do. So
I'm with you.
And I'm a fan at the end of the day. So
I'm a fan. Spreads on stats. He's got his he breaks it down for us. I listen to those analysis. It might help me on some of my FanDuel or BetUS.
There you go.
I should say BetUS. I got you. Yeah. So
it's your show.
Yeah. I know who the sponsors are. I got you. So I'd say his analysis helps me pick some of those games sometimes. So it's does a good job. But with Rich Rod, it's it was a Hoppy saying it was 10,000 to 1 that he'd come back. One of them said that, and it was
I think Hoppy had it at
6 to 1 maybe, but
something like that.
Yeah,
and Brad kind of smugly went, that's too high.
Yeah,
too low. Needs to be higher.
Yeah, that's what it was. But it's
I haven't heard him admit they were wrong either. By the way, maybe they did, and I just missed it. But
I don't think I missed it. I didn't hear it either. But they, I get Tony's got to do his he's got to do his thing. He can't. His son worked for us at one point. I know his son really well.
Okay,
good kid. Good. Yeah. No, Michael Caridi.
Oh, Michael. Okay.
Yeah. Good guy. Still in the mortgage industry. Good dude. So, but no, it's I think Rich Rod's going to come back and hit the ground running. The energy's there, but I like at his press conference that he comes out and says, should have never left. Best thing he started with.
Absolutely.
You knew he was going to do. He has PR people. We have PR people. They were going to tell him what to say. I don't think they needed to tell him that. I felt like that was from the heart. He had his moments to step away and get choked up as he was talking. I think it's real. You could tell he wants redemption.
And what's cool is Yeah, what's cool is he also said that, according to Ren, he also was echoed the same sentiments during the job interview process.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. He wants his hey, I want an ESPN 30 for 30 about West Virginia's first national championship. Rich Rod comes back.
Oh man, what a story.
It's, it's going to be there. So, well, hey, we're going on 50 minutes here. I've taken a lot of your time. We got to talk some Mountaineer sports.
Yep.
We got to talk about how you started your show. I want to get this out there for you too, just because you're doing this. You have your day job. I have my day job. We have our passions. We have things we like to do. And I don't want anyone to forget the time, the effort, the editing, everything you have to put into this to make this show, to provide entertainment for others. My friends ask why I've started my own podcast and why I do this. I say it's my therapy.
Yeah,
it's cheaper than paying a therapist. It's therapy to me.
It is to a degree. Here's the way I looked at it, Rob.
Yeah.
I spent almost all of my free time researching West Virginia football, listening to podcasts, talking to whoever, somebody.
Yeah.
And of course, how it is, as you get older, you get a family. I all of a sudden I didn't have a whole lot of people to talk about it with anymore, right?
Yeah.
And I needed an outlet.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I'm going to do this and I love it so much, why don't I just do it on YouTube or on a podcast form? And then when I realized you could make a little side money at it.
Oh yeah.
And I got monetized a lot quicker than I anticipated. I'm like, wait a minute here. Maybe if I push this thing even harder, or at least stay on track here.
Yeah.
Maybe I can make a decent side hustle out of this and achieve some personal goals I have.
Yeah.
And do something I enjoy doing. And who knows what it could turn into one of these days, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I love it. I admire it. I enjoy talking about it myself. And, here, I'll show you. I just looked over here. I didn't plan on this, but let me stand up here. Let me show you this. This was my mom gave me this. This is my Halloween costume. When I was Rob, on the back, you know how moms and grandmas write stuff on the back of the frames in the car.
Oh yeah.
Rob, 6 years old. That's what I was for Halloween right there.
There you go. That's awesome.
Right.
Oh, I got something to show you too real quick.
Yeah,
you mentioned that sugar bowl. Hold on.
Yeah, let's see it.
I had one of my loyal subscribers actually sent this to me.
Oh, no way.
It's the football with the sugar bowl.
Oh, 2006
has the score, the trophy, a picture of the trophy, the whole 9 yards, man.
Absolutely love that.
I try to get it in my background, but it doesn't really show up real well.
Yeah.
So I just kind of keep it. I keep it as a collector's item for myself.
I love it. Yeah, I'm a big sports fan in general. I'm kind of all Pittsburgh sports growing up in North Central West Virginia, but
Understandable.
I collect a lot of that stuff. And
Go Bills.
Yeah,
I'm a Buffalo Bills fan.
I tell you what, man, they're deadly.
Yeah, but they won't be able to beat Kansas City in the playoffs, so it won't matter.
I don't know. The Ravens whipped up on my boys the other day, so Lamar's he's a force to be reckoned with. And now I'm down here in DC, and I got everyone thinking the Commanders or Redskins, right? So I still call them that, but I tell you what, I'm not a Commanders fan. I'm not a fan. Okay, I'm a Steelers fan. But Jaden Daniels,
he's the real deal, isn't he?
He is the real deal.
That throw he made against the Eagles was clutch, man.
He is the. Well, I was laughing. I was cheering for the Commanders as I'm watching my old boy Kenny Pickett get back in there. I was texting my buddy. I was like, "You're welcome."
Yeah.
So, well, hey, I appreciate you jumping on. Again, letting the fans get to know you a little bit more as a person. Like I said, we went down some country roads here and some twists and turns in what we talked about. And but hey, I love talking Mountaineer sports. I'm going to join your premium channel.
I appreciate that.
You'll see me hit up there. My screen name's usually King Rob is my screen name. So so fun fact. So I went to WVU. I was the 2000. Now don't make fun of me here. I was the 2000 homecoming king at WVU.
Really?
Yeah. So
awesome.
I ran as a joke. I was in a business fraternity, not a social fraternity. And but I was from West Virginia. I'm drinking at a bar called Bent Willie's up in Morgantown. I'm up on top.
I've heard of it. I'm
there during the summer. I'm 21 years old. Maybe I was 20. I don't remember. You can drink in Morgantown at 18. It's fine. So I'm up there. I'm with my buddies, and they start talking about homecoming. And I was like, couple drinks in, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna run for homecoming king, just as a complete joke, right? The next day, I woke up. My buddy shows up at my house, and he throws a beer at me because it was a Saturday. We're getting ready to go tailgate for a Mountaineer game. And he goes, remember what you said last night? And I said, what? He goes, you're going to run for homecoming king. He goes, and I'm going to help you. It was John Potter, one of my best buddies, became my campaign manager. Awesome. And with his expertise, we ended up winning. So that was my 15 minutes of fame.
Maybe you ought to run for office and he'd be your campaign manager.
15 minutes of fame. I got on the field. One of Don Nealon's last home games versus Syracuse.
Wow. Awesome.
And we lost the game. So I would have given the crown back to win the game. So.
Well, congratulations, man. You've got something most people can't put on their resume.
Yeah, it's a fun one. So well, look forward to seeing the future shows. I'll tag you in some stuff, and hey, maybe we can do this again later this year.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, brother. Hey, nice getting to know you. Honestly, pumped and proud of what you're doing. You're killing it. And I'm not only a Mountaineer fan, but I'm a Couz's Corner fan. So
thank you, brother.
All right, brother.
You've been listening to Seasoned for Success. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from the show, and we'll be back soon. In the meantime, make sure to like, rate, and review. And don't forget to spread the word and follow us on social media. On Facebook at Seasoned for Success and on Twitter at Seasoned Success.
Have a good one. Bye.
Till next time.